Welcome to Beginner Series 2, Session 2. Today we're going to start in prone, but also do some other exercises. So if you need blocks or cushions for any of these, make sure that you have them nearby. So I'm going to start in my transition position. So feet and knees bent. Roll the knees out to the side and then place yourself onto your front. So when we are here, we're going to focus on what is connected and what is staying relaxed when we are starting in this position. So I got my legs stretched out and the hips are going to widen on the front and just finding an even balance with the weight between the two legs. Now the arms are going to create a diamond shape and also your fingers. So I'm going to place my forehead onto those fingers and just relax into the shoulders and starting to think about what is going on with the spine. So relax the legs, open up the front of the hip, and then trying to take away any tension from your lower spine as well. Now from here, the shoulders stay relaxed, and also the collarbone on the front of the chest is going to widen, and the shoulder blade are just going to widen onto the back. Now with the spine, I'm trying to keep the lower rib cage connected into the floor and also feeling that I'm connecting down in towards the hip bone from the lower hip. And that is your start position. Now from here, I'm going to lift the head off the floor and come into our first exercise, which is Cobra Prep. So the arms are going to go out to the side like a W shape. And now this is where, if you need to, you place a small cushion underneath the forehead. I'm going to keep my head floating. So hips are connected into the floor. Now the movement is a curve. So I'm going to start with a lift of the head and then trying to lift the chest, but keeping the bottom rib cage connected into the floor. And then just coming back down again. So we are using arms. You can use them to press lightly in, trying to create a curve in your back. And then placing the chest and forehead down. So we're still trying to connect the lower rib cage slightly in towards the hip. So there's no tension into your back when you're lifting up. Shoulders stay away from your ears. You float the head and chest. And then you place the chest and forehead and down towards the floor. Now, you don't have to think too much about breathing. Just make sure you're breathing naturally here. And then we just do a pause as they come up. Pause. And then we come down in towards the floor. We do a couple more, so we float up, keeping that connection with the lower rib cage in towards the hip bones, and then coming back down, and then really calm glute muscles and calves in the back of the legs, and then place yourself back down in towards the floor. Now, to come out of here, we go into rest position, which is our next exercise. I'm pressing my hands next to the chest, and I'm going to push up and sit back towards the heels from here. So you can also do elbows and hands. Breathe in. And I'm breathing out to push back. If your body says, no, it doesn't want to sit back towards the heels like I'm doing now, you can also stay into slightly higher hinge and stretch out the arms here. Or this is where the block comes in. Place the block underneath and then sit back towards your heels. Now, whilst we're here, I'm going to think about the chest becoming heavy and sinking down in towards the thighs, and also trying to drop the tailbone down towards your feet and towards the floor. The arms are stretched out, and the head, again, if it's comfortable, can go a little bit lower towards the mat or staying slightly lifted in between your arms. And then we come out of here, we glide the hands in towards the knees and then push up, and then coming into an exercise we've done in the series 1. So tabletop. Hands are separated and knees are separated. I'm going to try to keep my feet flat. If you can't, you might have your toes under. Just try to keep your heels still. Otherwise, it gets a bit wobbly. Now, from here, we're thinking about the chest lifting. And again, hugging the bottom rib cage down in towards the hip and then lengthen the back of the neck. Now, I'm going to stretch my leg out. This is opposite arm and leg lifting. So I'm gliding the leg out and then lifting the opposite arm and leg. Come back in and then place them down. So glide the leg, lift up, coming back in, place yourself down. So glide and then lift, come back in, place a knee in. So you're trying to maintain your position in the middle so that your body is not rocking side to side. So we glide the leg, maintain that connection to the stomach, lift and hold, place everything back in, and then glide the knee back in. So lengthen the leg, lift, hold position, bring everything back in, and return the knee. So I'm going to breathe in, breathe out to lift, breath in, and then breathe out to return. Just trying to keep the hips from rocking side to side. And then lift, coming back in, return the knee and hand. One more. So we keep in position, the head is not dropping down, it's staying in position. And like I said, if your feet don't like to be this flat, you just keep the toes tucked under. And then coming back in, and then coming into seated position, coming into waist twist. So we're going to bring our legs into a cross if you're comfortable here. Now you can also use a block underneath your bum, and then just make sure the hips are not gripping and that you're not having to fold the body. We are thinking about length through the spine. The arms come into our Cossack position. So we're here, we drop the shoulders. And I'm going to start turning from the head into the upper back. So I'm going to turn my head first and then rotate it over from upper back, mid back, lower back, and then travel back through the spine the same way I went. And then start again. So head, upper back, mid back, lower back, and then travel back through the spine. So maintain your height. Think about length through the spine as we turn over, and no tension around the hips, hopefully. And then come back, and again turn, and then slowly rotate over, and then come back into center. Now we're going to try to use the breath. So we breathe in, and then breathe out to turn, and see if it made it easier. And then come back to center, and again breathe in, breathe out to turn, and see if you got more range suddenly. And then come back to center. One more. Breath in, breathe out, relax the sit bones in towards the floor, and then come back to center. Breath in, and then breathe out to turn, and then come back to center. Relax the arms if you need to, otherwise stay here with me. Now we're going to stay in position and then add a little bit more rotation. So I'm going to breathe out to turn, hold position, breathe in, relax the hip bones, and then breathe out, turn a little bit more, and then come back to center. Drop the top of the shoulders, and again, so we breathe out to turn, we hold, breathe in, and then breathe out, turn a little bit more, and then come back to center. So it's very easy to let the arms move before the chest, but we're trying to keep the arms in front of the chest. Hold position, and then turn a bit more. Let's finish the other side as well. Breathe in, breathe out and turn. Hold position, breath in, breathe out, turn a little bit more, and then come back. Great. Taking the arms out to the side, stretching everything out into your floating arm. One more. Good. And that's it for today.